Welcome, everybody. Okay, Angie and I have talked about this since her Diamond Weekend, and we wanted to come to you guys and teach it because, one, when you teach it, you learn it better. You just talk about it, you get it in your gut, right? Those of you who were at the Diamond Amazing Celebration Weekend heard it once, but repeat, repeat, repeat. We do better if we hear it again. And then number three, I know that there's a lot of people that weren't part of that weekend that totally want to know what in the world? What in the world did you guys hear about? What did you learn? We want to know. So, we are going to talk all about systems today. So, regardless of if you're Hot Mess Express and run, basically fly by the seat of your pants, or you're a very systematic person, we're going to talk about system today. And first, we're going to kick off with the definition. So, what is a system? So, a business system is a defined set of principles, practices, and procedures that are applied to specific activities to achieve a specific result. And I wanted to share that definition because a system is basically doing the same thing over and over and over again versus reinventing the wheel every single time. And it's going to save you time, brain space, and it's a good thing. And so Brooke Hemingway is the master of systems. She's amazing at it. And it's really, I feel like when I was introduced to very early on, probably 7-ish years ago, she was teaching about systems on YouTube, just like on her YouTube channel. And that really, honestly, that was what propelled us from a stalled out Emerald team to Diamond, which was the simplicity of basically having a routine, a schedule to our month. So we started doing 7-day challenges and 3-day challenges. And that system over and over and over again, rinse, wash, repeat over time, ended up blessing everybody involved. And that was a system. And so, have you guys ever heard of the bus test? Pop in the chat if you've heard of the bus test. So, the concept with this is basically if you got hit by a bus and could not work your business, would it still run? Or is it completely and wholly contingent upon you doing all of the work all the time in order to make things move forward? Now, I will say that when you're in the beginning of building your business, you are the sole proprietor. You are the CEO and the only one at first working. And so if you are brand new going, oh, well, if I got hit by a bus, my business would go no. Okay, well, we're thinking like the vision of a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, right? So like when you are a Ruby ambassador, when you are a Sapphire ambassador, when you're a Diamond or Star Diamond ambassador, like you want your business not to just run, but to actually grow and to grow without you. And that's where systems come into place. And so the system is the expert. We're not going to be the experts. The system is going to be the expert. And it relieves us as leaders also of having to be on call all the time. Okay. Because as an entrepreneur, and like the beauty of network marketing, which is the American dream, by the way, we want to be able to live the life that we want to live, right? And we want to build a life. And the way that you build a life is by building systems into your life. And so the encouragement today is if it's unclear, we're going to clarify it. If it's not being used, we're going to utilize it. Okay, so Angie is going to kick off the first of several systems. So there's 4 main systems that we're going to talk about today. So number 1 is our home systems. Number 2 is our business systems. Number 3 are our financial systems. And number 4 is our personal systems. And we'll have a few little subpoints in between there. But I'm going to kick it over to her so she can talk about all things home. Because how many of us have homes that we're running that take a lot of our time and a lot of our brain space, right? Okay, Angie, take it away.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness. And I think it's interesting that Megan and I both are homeschooling moms of 7 kids. Now, mine are older and I don't have 7 at home anymore, but I have been doing this for 25 years, homeschooling my kids and being a super busy mom. So, busy is no excuse. My favorite thing to say is when people tell me they're too busy, their plate is too full, guess what I tell them? Get a bigger plate because that's what I did. And that's what I keep doing when my plate keeps getting fuller and fuller because busy people make the best business partners. So, as we're targeting number 1, the home, if your home is in chaos, mine has been in chaos so many times off and on over the years. But I know that when things are organized, it just makes everything else run a lot smoother. Um, And I would say that if you have a specific space, the master bedroom has always been my space that no matter what, if my bed is made and it's nice and neat and clean, and someone walked into my house, if they could go to one room and I would be like, oh, this is my room, right? It's always the bedroom. So when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I go into my bedroom and I'm like, oh, this feels so good. So I would say to you, find the space that you need to have that's your space, that you know it's always going to be nice, neat, and clean. And if you need a getaway, you can go there. And in the meantime, start targeting those other areas of your house. Maybe it's a kitchen area that you really need to organize and get it underway. Maybe it's a drawer that you're just like, oh my gosh, this drawer is driving me crazy. For me right now, it is my master closet. Like, I have got to get that thing under control. But if you just take one area, I'm not telling you to do this all at once, but like one area a day, a week, or a day, or whatever your time frame looks like, and focus on that, you will feel so much better. It will be like the angels are singing from heaven to you, because you'll be so excited. And honestly, when things are organized, you can work so much better. That is a guarantee. I promise you that. The second thing that I would help you to focus on, because it's something that I've done over the years, is your meals. When you are running a business, when you're running a house, when you're running a family, all the things, if you have your meal plan kind of in order, I'm not saying you have to have a menu and everything. You don't have to do once a month cooking like I used to do for years when all my kids were home, but you plan out, you know what you're going to have for the day. Your life is going to go so much easier. And especially when you're running businesses, right? Because that's why we're all on here. We're all in this Plexus business. And so we're just trying to help you come up with ways that will help you utilize your time so that you have not necessarily more time, but your time is being utilized better, because we all have 24 hours in a day, right? But you can use that time to best effectively use it for your business. The other area that I would focus on is, what is your routine? Like, I don't have little kids at home anymore, but a lot of you probably do. What is your routine in the morning, and what is your routine at night, whether you have little kids or not? What is it like when you get up in the morning? Do you have specific things that you want to get done, but you can't get them done because things are kind of a disarray? Well, if you have them scheduled out and you kind of know what you're doing, doesn't have to mean that every 5 minutes is down on paper, but you have an idea of, this is the hour block that I'm going to do XYZ when I get up. And this is the hour block, what we're going to do before we go to bed at night. And I would say one of the main things that I have learned from Brooke about nighttime is that when you are getting ready for bed, you need to get off of all social media, all devices, about an hour before bed, and put it in another room. I started doing that a couple months back, and it really has changed everything for me. I have literally been able to sleep better. I can relax. I'm not thinking about grabbing my phone all the time. Because when I first got started in this business, I literally was like this under the covers every night. You know, my husband was asleep and here I am just jiggling away at my phone. But you have to, we're going to talk about this at the end because we're going to talk about personal, but you have to have that space where you can just chill out, you can relax, and you can sleep sound and peacefully. So those few areas that I just mentioned there, getting those rooms organized in your home, getting your meals organized, whatever your food plan looks like for the day, and your morning and evening routine, if you have those organized, just those are the basics. That is going to help you run your home so much more smoothly. My youngest is 16, so I don't have babies at home anymore, but I still know that my kids that are still at home, they need a routine, but so do I. And I'm assuming that lots of you need routines too. What would you say, Megan?
Yeah, I was just gonna say in terms of routine, like I operate off of like my brain in the binder, my planner, and figuring out what times are going to get what specific tasks. Even for summertime, like our schedule's a lot more loose, and we're not doing as much school. But like Justin and I have been having either evening and or morning meetings, just like, hey, what's the plan for supper? Who's cooking? Who's taking which kid to where, like deciding, and then like chunking out the time. Like he's like, hey, I need a couple of hours of office time. And I'm like, I need a couple of hours of office time. So we're figuring out when who's on and who's off for different tasks and things. But reminder that systems are what sets you up for success. Okay. And so as you're listening to us talk, be thinking and jotting down some areas of your home that you could be focused on. And because remember, systems bring peace, and systems also give you more brain space, more bandwidth. And I think that's when you're running off of tyranny of the urgent all the time, it's not peaceful, it's stressful, and it's not so fun. And there's a level when you have, especially when you, well, I don't know, when you're just living life, have little kids, whatever your version of, maybe it's a full-time business job or something. There's a level of things pop up, but you need to have something to flex from. That's what my mom always says when she's talking or teaching about routines and systems and household success, is you have to have something to flex from. And so it's a really, really key, family systems are a key to being a successful entrepreneur, and it will be your lid if you are a hot mess express. Like you will not be able to move farther in your business if your home is hot mess express, or your finances or you personally are hot mess. And so we want to encourage you to kind of take a glance at these different areas of your life so that you can set yourself up for more success and longevity, because that's the goal, is sustainable systems for a long time, right? Because we want you to feel peaceful as you're doing this, and this is going to benefit like every area of your life, because it's like that, like you're going to lift the float when you raise up discipline in one area. Naturally it's going to lift all the boats, and we're doing this right now. So we just have come off of our semester of homeschooling, and so naturally we're just going through the house and detoxing. We're selling stuff. We're going through closets. I've got Christmas put away finally, and we're homing everything. Okay, drop a one in the comments if you still don't have your Christmas stuff put away. Okay, it's fine.
I would even say, drop in the comments the room that you're going to target this week, or the whatever, the drawer, the cabinet, the pantry, whatever. Type something in the chat and tell us. Because for me, it's my closet. I've already mentioned that.
For me, well, a week and a half ago, it was my utility room, because my Christmas wasn't put away. Thus, all this stuff that the kids had gotten out and taken and putting back, and it was just a disaster. And I knew that if I was going to do it, it was going to be like a 3-hour overhaul. So I had procrastinated so long, but it was on my brain, nagging me. And you want to get rid of those little nagging in the back of your mind areas so that you can move forward in peace and joy. And I will say home everything. So find a home for everything and tell the kids, like, these are the homes for things. And then teamwork. If you have kids at home or a spouse or whatever, like, figure out how you could team up and knock things out, because many hands make light work. If you can knock it out as a team, or just have your home like divided up into different zones. And that's what I did when I brain dumped the other day, is like I divvied up my house into zones. And so I'm still working through different areas this summer, and it's like, pick one thing. Angie and I were just talking, pick one thing. It could be one drawer that you like on a busy day, one drawer, but that's one thing that you're chunking down and you're consistently moving through your home just to have more peace. So okay, and also quick mention, newsflash, life doesn't pause because you want to build a business, right, Angie? And
Exactly.
she and David have built multiple multi-million-dollar businesses. And so it's like the heavens are not going to open for you. You're learning, as an entrepreneur, like you're learning to build your business while juggling the other things. So, okay. Was there anything else you want to say about home systems?
Oh, that's good.
Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and go into the business systems. And Angie's going to talk really quickly about the perfect 10. So have you guys ever been asked the question, what is the core, rank, and plexus? Drop it in the chat if you know what it is. You get to, I guess you can cheat if you were at the, if you're on this call and we're at the training. Gold. It said gold. Margaret said senior silver. Margaret wins. Margaret wins, but she was there. She got an A+. All right, Angie, you can go ahead and share about the perfect 10 system.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to say really quickly, that core rank being senior silver is because you can take that 50 and you can just figure out how many level ones you're going to need to hit gold. Obviously, you need 2, right? Or actually 1 plus yourself. And you can just continue to go through that. When you have that 50, it makes the math really easy, and you can figure out how many level ones you need in order to go to the next ranks on and on. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the perfect 10. This is something that Brooke trained on in some mastermind training that I've been doing with her. And I love it because it seems like it's a very simple process and there's nothing new under the sun. There's no magic, but it's just a great way to think about things. So, step one, everybody starts with a buddy. So, when Jenny joins your team, you're going to encourage Jenny, hey, Jenny, we always start with a buddy because you're going to be 85% more successful in anything that you do if you start with a buddy. So that's kind of a no-brainer. Okay. Step two, add two more. So Jenny adds one in step one. Then she adds two more, mom, sister, bestie. We all know that, right? Now she's hit the first rank in Plexus, and we've helped her get $300 cash in her hands. Guys, that amount of money can be life-changing for people. We don't know people's financial situation, but I'll take $300. I don't care how much money we make. I'll take $300, right? Step number three is add any seven. The reason we say any seven is because it can be a level 1 or 2 or 3. They're not going to have any levels below that because, first of all, they only have levels 1 getting started, right? So now when they add 7 more to that 1, 2 that they've already added, 1, 2, 3, now they've just hit the second rank in the company, which is senior silver, that core rank, and we've helped them get $800 cash in their hands. Guys, I can remember, this is dating me a little bit, okay? But when my house payment was like $250, $800 a month would have paid my house payment how many times? 3 times. Guys, $800 is a lot of stinking money. And in this economy that we live in today, that's mind-blowing, really, because groceries, like I can't even buy groceries for my family for $800 a month because I still do have 3 teenage boys living at home. And Megan, all her kids are living at home. So there's no way she can get away with only spending $800. That's life-changing for people. So I was so guilty of this. Don't prejudge people where they are financially because you don't know. I used to think, oh, they don't need the money. Oh, they don't need the money. Oh, they have enough money. I was so wrong in so many areas of that. So don't prejudge them. Help them do this simple, perfect 10. Now, I'm just going to give a little caveat. Technically, you only have to have 9 level 1s to go senior silver. But if Brooke would have called it the perfect 9, it would not have had the same little ring to it as the perfect 10 does, right? Because we know what a perfect 10 is. It lights everyone's fire. So that's super simple system. And I've actually done a little 5-minute video training on that, which I can pop back through the chat threads if you guys want to see it again, or you can go back and listen to this. Step 1, everybody starts with the buddy. Step 2, add 2 more. We're getting them $300. Step 3, any 7. Now we've just gotten $800 into their hands.
Yes, and then it's rinse, wash, repeat. So you can see how you could develop a senior goal, a fast start senior goal, just by helping them do the perfect 10 over and over and over again with how many would it be? 50 times 5, right? Yeah. They would need 5. They would need 5 senior silvers in order to go senior gold. And then you do that math and you can go emerald off of, let me see, how many.
Well, technically they would need 4 because they would
Oh,
have to be 1 themselves.
Yes, you do it yourself. And then you need 4 more. And then in order to go emerald, you need 6 faster. Well, they don't have to be faster, but you would need 6 senior golds, and one of them can be you, because you're going to be developing other people on your team as well. And so you start to see like how the math makes perfect sense. And when you draw out on paper and you have like the little starburst of like, so and so and so and so on your teams that hit a perfect 10, or they work on developing and working on that perfect 10 with people on their team, and they get 4 of their people plus themselves, they're senior gold. And you do that rinse, wash, repeat. And so that's the cool thing about these systems, is that they're duplicatable and anyone can learn them. And the one thing about the perfect 10 is that it fits right alongside with what we already teach about the PLLP and silver and 6 and the gold training. And so those are simple systems that we have taught on there. We're not going to go over them right now, but in the Momentum Makers group, if you type in the search bar PLP, I have a video explaining what that is, which is basically teaching people to make a post, make a list, go live, and then do a party. Okay, and so that is your simple rinse, wash, repeat for yourself anytime you feel stuck. Or as you're training people and helping people to get a perfect 10, you're working them through those simple steps. And then training wise, the silver and 6 pinned to the top of the team pages and the gold training as well. So we have those training things for everyone. So really, people can't not succeed if they want to rank up in Plexus. If they're given the simple systems, I'm convinced that there's people that will fast start Gem and Jewel just by getting plugged into simple systems that we already have in place, even without a sponsor holding their hand. Okay, so, all right. So
Well, and one thing I would pipe in there, Megan, is activity cures everything. I don't care, no matter what it is, when you get into action with anything, you're going to see results. I was just talking to, I was on a call with Jen Diev recently, and she was talking about mindset. People were like, oh, well, we should be training on mindset. And she's like, well, here's the thing that I think. If you get into action, the mindset starts to shift because you're so busy doing the activities that you're not thinking about the mindset. And I loved that. I thought that was so great.
It's so true. Yeah. And I remember Brenda Martin saying early on, you learn personal growth by doing this business. And I go back to my 4-H days. Learn by doing. That's the motto. That's the motto of this. And so, yeah, I mean, eventually, I mean, there's still benefit and value in personal growth and popping an earbud in and, you know, whatever you need there, but just do the work. Because Angie and I have seen this over the years too, where people will do the personal growth, which it's not personal growth unless you actually apply it. For, you know, just a quick mention, but they'll listen to a call, but they won't actually take the action because it's way easier to hop on a call than it is to actually take steps and do uncomfortable things and be willing to hear no or whatever, you know? So, okay, we're going to go into the customer convo. Okay. So Angie and I both took these little questions and basically made them into a short little 60-second video that we shared with our customers. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the questions to be asking and or talking to your customers about, which could be, you know, texting back and forth and or just make a little video resource. Then you have it and you can blitz it out. So here's a couple of the questions. How are you with consistency? Number 2 is, how are you with drinking your water? Number 3 is, how are you doing with moving your body every day? Number 4 is, don't forget to put real food in your body. Number 5 is, take out one trigger food each week. Okay, you're not overhauling, you're just taking out one trigger food. What could that be? And then number 6 is, you can't start alone. So again, the buddy conversation. You need a buddy. If you do this alone, you have a 50% chance of succeeding. Tell me more about who would do this with you. I don't know, might be fun. All right, if you don't take anything else away from this call, take that line away. I don't know, might be fun. It's a running joke after that event at Angie's because we've been using that. I've been using it all the time. I don't know, might be fun. So try it in your conversations because it really lightens it up. Because if, I don't know, might be fun. So that is wonderful. And then I'm not sure if it's a fit for you, but ... That's another little sound bite that you guys can take. So it's not about having like the perfect verbiage. Sometimes it's just those little sound snippets that you can take and utilize in your own messaging and as you're talking with people.
And an add-on to that, I don't know if it's for you, but because here's the thinking behind that, is that most people, another key word that you want to say there, when they hear, I don't know if it's for you, but they only hear what comes after that. And so that's the thing. Like if you're at a job and your boss tells you, oh my gosh, Jenny, you are fantastic at XYZ, but you really need to work on this. The only thing that Jenny just heard is, you really need to work on this. And it goes the same way if it's a positive. I don't know if this is for you, but most people love XYZ.
And
Those
then,
are 2 key things to say. I don't know if it's for you and most people.
yes, yeah, that I really liked that verbiage little phrase. And the other thing is, she said, if not this, then what's your plan? And I really like that. And Fallon actually talked about that on her customer care training in the Star Diamond group in March. She was just saying, like, she was teaching about retention, but she's like, I don't let people quit. She's like, I ask them, like, if you're not going to finish this. Like, what is your plan B? Like, you already told me your whole laundry list of horrible things. Like, you have to stay consistent. And so I like that. If not this, then what's your plan?
And another thought is knowing what they've tried, ask them before. Knowing that you've tried XYZ, how confident are you that those things are going to continue to work for you? Because the person most likely has already said, I've tried keto and low carb and Weight Watchers or whatever, and I haven't had any success with that. That's why they're coming to us, right? Um, and I remind people Plexus is a tool that goes alongside those things. However, one of the things that Brooke taught in this is she said, go back to them and just say that. Knowing that you've done XYZ, how confident are you that the next thing you're going to try is going to be any better?
Hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of like what Chris was mentioning last night. Is like try to figure out what they're thinking and speak to that. So these are just little ideas. Mm. And I love the little quote. I just helped a mom do this. Like you're kind of pulling in, hey, someone else with the same types of things. I've I've seen that. I've seen a ton of people get results. Okay. So, anyways, these are just ideas for you guys to work into the conversations that you're having. And I saw in the chat, uh, Lisa says you make this sound so easy, but this is hard. And Crystal says, I keep putting it out there, but no one wants to join. So here's the thing. Angie and I have done this for nine plus years. So we have been in your shoes and we kept going. And we're simply examples of the process. Like we're examples of people that have been committed to the process and haven't quit. So it's normal to hear no. It's no, like we're giving you these systems so that like the next steps ahead, but you're still here kind of like at the beginning figuring out the who, because you're still like trying to you're still working on having the conversations, making the posts, marketing to people to bring people in to work with them, and have these conversations. So if some of this feels a little bit like I can't apply this yet, it's okay. Take good notes or come back and reference this later, because then when you're going to listen with different ears when you're like, oh, I have people I can work with this on. Now I'm going to practice some of these ideas.
Well, because one thing too is that I've had a lot of people, I've had a lot of conversations lately, and people are asking, like, what's the secret? Like, how is it after 9 years you hit diamond? Like, what are you doing different? But the truth is, guys, I'm not doing anything different. I've been hardcore, faithful, consistent for 9 years. And if the Lord would have told me 9 years ago, you're going to start this journey, which I did not want to start, I will have you know, I was not a fan of doing this. Um, you're going to do this for 9 years, but you're not going to hit the top until 9 years. Would I have said, "Oh, sure, Lord, I'm all in. Let's do it." I don't know, but now looking back, I'm thinking, I sure hope so, because I was living life anyway. I was loving these supplements. I'm very passionate about good health, and I was doing life anyway. So why not, right? And the thing about business is that the statistics, you can go look this up. I don't know the exact number, but I do know that they say if your business can sustain 10 years, you're going to make it. And that might seem like, oh my gosh, 10 years. My oldest son is a physician. You know how many years he had to go to college for that? And guess what? I make as much money as he does now. And I don't have a college degree, but I love him just the same, right? But I'm just saying, like, we are doing this anyway. And you don't know. I'm not telling you it's going to take you 10 years. It didn't take Megan 9 years to get there. But everyone's journey is different. But I know this: if I had given up all those years ago, all of those people on my team right now who have just joined me or have just joined my daughter-in-law who just hit Emerald, or there's other people on her team that are ranking up like crazy, they weren't ready 9 years ago, right? But they are now. And so that's the beauty of it. It's that whole thing with activity.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing the things. It's like if I don't work out, and some days I don't. I've been sick for about 10 days, so I have not felt like working out. Today I walked for an hour on my walking pad. But just getting back into action and doing things, it cures so much. I promise you it does.
Yes. Okay. And the last little business system we'll talk about is the rank up strategy. And I'm just going to reference you to the pinned post. It's a featured post on Momentum Makers Group. It's basically on all of our team pages. And so it explains how to utilize this. There's a little 15-20 minute video that Jessica did. And you want to fill this out so that you have a real clear cut path of your goals. Okay. Every single month, I get my goals down on paper. I write down who I'm working with and have a really clear, solid plan. Because if you're fuzzy about where you're going, why, and what you're doing, your team is going to feel that. And I would guarantee you that people on your social media and just the different things that you're doing, they're going to feel that also. So having a lot of clarity about what you want and why is super important. So we're blitzing through some of this just to just so that we don't belabor this call, but we wanted to get through these business systems so you guys have a very clear path of next steps. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to run into the finance system with which Brooke talked about. Do you have some notes on that, Angie?
Yes, I have a couple notes. So as far as finances for your business, I would just say have a plan, because it's so important that you know you're going to get a 1099, right? If you at least make $600, you're going to get a 1099 from Plexus. And so you have got to be responsible and keep up with your taxes. So put a little bit back, depending on how much you're making, put a little bit back in your savings. Make sure that you're keeping track of your receipts for what any of your Plexus expenses. Those are tax deductible, and you are going to need tax deductions at the end of the year. And what I use is called QuickBooks Online. I don't know, I pay a little fee so that I can keep track of it. I run it all through my business. I mean, it's all through my business only. I have my own checking account, my debit card for that, and everything automatically just goes right in there. It's a good tracking system, and it makes it super simple. But you could do it with paper and pen too. But I would just venture to say you need to keep track of those receipts so that you can not run into a problem, the more money you start making. And I have a lot of experience in this because my husband and I have other businesses, and we got an audit once, and it was not fun. It took 6 weeks, and nobody wants to get an audit. So keep good track, even just keeping track on paper. I gave Susie a sample. I gave Jenny 3 samples. Date it, write it down, because when if that ever happens and they come to look at your stuff, you have some sort of documentation, even if it's written on a piece of notebook paper. You will be so glad that you did that.
Okay, and then a couple other things that we learned from that little section was to earn from your strengths and spend from your values. I thought that was really significant. And then your money shows what you value most. And so Brooke encouraged everyone to do a financial audit, which Justin recently told me, he's like, I think that'd be good. We needed to do that. So don't be afraid of doing finance meetings with your spouse. Don't be afraid of tracking where your money is going, and not just a budget, but do an audit so that you have a really clear picture on where your money is going, because that's energy flow. Money, finances is an energy flow. And so look at, are there subscriptions you're not using? How much are you spending at Target? Eating out, that kind of thing, and just having clarity on the reality. Not, it's kind of like when we have people do a time audit. You have your routine and your what your plan is for the day, but have you ever done the inverse where you actually audit where your time goes? That is a really helpful exercise. But same with our finances, same concept, where you have your budget, but then you have reality of where it's actually going. So that is important. Don't forget to have a budget and, figure out what your percentages are, because really, like we've said, if you're not giving when you're gold, what makes you think that you're going to give when you're diamond? Because it's based off of percentages. Whatever that percentage is, you can just base it off that. Same with, at some point, when we encourage people around the Ruby, senior Ruby rank to start thinking about having a chat with their tax advisor, because maybe they would advise you to incorporate and do an LLC or the S Corp, whatever works for your particular financial situation. Also at that specific rank in your business, you might want to start thinking about do I need an assistant? I know Carissa and Jessica started hiring an assistant at Gold for small things. I mean, obviously, it was a small percentage of their pay, but they started to leverage their business so that they could work and focus in their highest level of contribution in their zone of genius. And they weren't over here doing all this other busy stuff. They were focused on what they needed to do in order to grow their business bigger. So just some thoughts there. Okay. And then lastly, we'll roll into the personal systems. Ange, do you have anything on there that you wanted
Yeah,
to
I wanted to say really quick on the finance thing too, is I want you guys to think about this. Time is money. Okay. So think about how we're not only talking about dollar bills, but I'm talking about like, if you have all these other things in order that we've already talked about, if you're going to the grocery 5 times a week, you're actually spending time and money that you don't need to spend, because it's the time from your house to the grocery, and then you're in the grocery, and then it's, you know what I'm saying? So if you get these things in order, it's no coincidence that finance comes like number 3, what we're talking about, because when you get those other things in order, you're going to have more flexibility, and you're going to save more of your time to use in other places, because time is money. It just
Mhm.
really is. Okay, so going into the personal aspect. So a couple things that really are important to me, and I would just say you've got to figure out what is important to you for your personal. So me spending time with the Lord is very important to me. Working out is, or moving my body, whatever that looks like, is very important to me. Eating healthy, super important to me. I'm kind of a nut about that. And then time with my husband, like time with my kids too, but time with my husband is really important to me. And if I'm not like filling my cup up with all those things, then I get out of whack. And so I would say figure out what your top 4 or 5 things are, so that you can make sure that you're filling your cup. Because whether you're a mom or you're a nanny or you're single or whatever it is, you've got to be filled up yourself so that you can pour out and give to other people. Because when you're pouring from a half empty cup, it's exhausting. And I've done that I've done that in my life, right? I'm 55. I've had a lot of years under my belt. And so I would just say, make sure that you're filling yourself with those things. And like I said earlier about action, when even though I've been sick and I haven't been able to move my body the way I would like to, um, once I did that today, I felt so much better. And I don't know if you can hear, I'm still a little bit congested and I'm not feeling 100%. But even at that, I'm like, just moving my body, I felt like a new person. So yay.
Yes. Okay. So evaluate the areas of your life. So think for you personally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally, those 3 things. And it goes along with the whole mind, body, and soul, because everything that we create flows from us, right? And you're the vessel and that you create through. And so if you're unhealthy, like it's going to end up being a lid for yourself. And so you want to be in your highest contribution, like your highest energy contribution levels. And so if you are really struggling in certain areas, like you need to get healthy in those areas so that you can pour out to more people, if that makes sense. And so it's also creating the endurance. That's something that Brooke mentioned. Like this is not just something that you're doing for 3 months. Like we're opening up the pathway to like the entrepreneurial life, right? With this opportunity. And so you want to create the endurance in yourself to have some good systems in place so that you feel healthy as a person and can pour out into the different cups, into the different areas that God's calling you to in your life. And so that's really important. And what else do you have?
So I was just looking at the chat, and Lisa said, what does a day look like in the life of a diamond as far as business goes? Well, it looks different each day, honestly. It depends on for me, if I'm focusing on my own personal business or I'm focusing on what I'm doing with my team. And, I guess people have to look at it and they have to figure out what is it worth to them each day. If you're working a 40-hour-a-week job and you're going to an office and you're making, I don't know, $100,000 a year. I mean, I don't know what people make like that, but you'd be working about 40 plus hours a week, right? And so, like, I don't feel like I work 40 hours a week, but there were seasons right? In April, when I went diamond, I worked 8 to 12 hours a day. And I know that might seem mind blowing, but that's literally what I did. And I can remember about 5 years ago, I was doing some training with Brooke and I heard her say, there are seasons. She said exactly what I just said. There are seasons. And when she said 8 to 10 hours a day, I was like, what in the world would I do for 8 to 10 hours a day? But when you get to this level, you have literally thousands of people that you can communicate with and you can reach out to and you can keep doing and you can keep helping. And so for me, my focus really right now is focusing on my team, what their needs are and how I can help them. That's really where my focus is, because for a long time, my focus was on my own personal business and how I can promote, continue to gain my own level ones. And I shifted my focus to how can I help my level ones, twos, and threes, whoever needs my help them continue to grow their business.
Hmm. Yeah. And I would say similarly, like every day is different. And it's just like being a mom. Every day looks a little different depending on what the needs are. But I would say, yeah, it's somewhat of a loaded question, but that's the entrepreneurial life. Like that's why I operate off of my brain dump list because the night before I make a list of like what needs to happen and anything that didn't happen from the day before that needs to go on the next day. I just pop it on my list, or sometimes it's the notes in my phone, but I like to do my brain dump at nighttime so that I'm not thinking about it while I'm trying to go to sleep or whatever. And it's the beautiful thing and of being able to close the chapter and making it wait till the next day. And that's the beauty of what we do. It's like it's very flexible and we can work in the nooks and crannies, or we can set aside time. Yesterday was a very big plexus day for me and I had a big office day, but I got a lot done. I talked to a lot of people, had some phone calls, and so, yeah, I think that the beauty is it in the beginning, you can't imagine spending more time because you're thinking, wow, I went to Senior Gold and I worked about 30 minutes or maybe an hour a day, 5 days a week. That's pretty good. But then as you continue to rank advance, it can look different depending on the season and also depending on your team structure. Like the Keith Callahan training is teaching us to like look for those 5 leaders. So Angie, is there anything you want to add to throw a loop around this before we pop off?
I was just going to end us with a challenge. I was going to tell you guys, here's your challenge. We don't want you walking away from this going, oh, that was great, and then just going off about your business. So here's the challenge. Thinking about home, business, finances, and your personal life, I would write those down and find those areas within each of those that you can tweak just a little bit. Do a little something today. I mean, it's only 3:15 where I live. So some of you are in the 2:15 time zone or different. I don't know. There's time today to still do something. As soon as I hang up from this call, I'm going right to my master closet. My assistant's here working. She's going to meet me in my closet. I said, we have 30 minutes. We are going to go through one section of my closet. So I'm going to challenge you guys to do the same, to go take 30 minutes and do something in one area of this, home, business, finances, or personal, and make a shift. Do something a little different and get those systems in order.